Alright, packing up for a little expedition, hopefully soon. And I take an extra bag. Some people take as little weight or things as possible. I'll take a long one like this in case I need to either strap something I accumulate to the bottom of the pack, or I acquire a bike. I can strap it to the handlebars, put a sleeping bag or something in there. And so I just shoved my rain pants in there. Maybe I'll put my rain jacket too and just put it at the bottom of my pack. A little bit of cushion too, pillow, whatever, I don't know. Alright, as I pack up this Z-Pack duffel pack here, I got this rain gear I've been packing up. I'll keep a couple extra of these headbands, put them around my neck, whatever. Switch them in and out if it gets real wet. Then I've got tissues to blow my nose and do other stuff in there. So I leave that jacket packed up and ready to go. Alright, 2025, packing up a little spring expedition here. Got a 15 Fahrenheit Magma down sleeping bag. They're really nice from REI. I'd say they're good to about, really that means 25 Fahrenheit. So if it was going to get colder, I have a down insert, effectively a quilt, basically a blanket that can supplement that and get me down to about 0 Fahrenheit. So basically you could say this is good to a little below freezing. And I really like the REI stuff bags that come with them, but you could do something different, especially if you thought you might end up on a bike or dragging your stuff around the ice or something like that. Alright, I like sleeping pads and keep a couple camping pads around, especially the ones that are nice and insulated, keep you warm. I'm just going to opt for this revered smaller sleeping bag from Thermarest. Pretty much the go-to industry standards for the last decade or so. Neo Air X-Lite women's. It's about the right 66-inch length, about right. That's a nice X-Ped, good for the ground, but I'll be in the hammock a lot. Alrighty, getting all the nitty-gritties from my backpack. Some extra microchips. I cut them to be more portable and put them in this top little pocket. Extra set of hammock straps if you're going out west where the trees are far apart. I don't think I'll take those, or annoying little electric plugs and batteries and stuff. But the basics of this is here, my breakaway bag that has my water purifier, snacks, socks, underwear, toilet kit, whatever, extra stuff like this will go here. Then my hammock or your tent or whatever you have. I'm lately taking 2 bags so I can keep my tarp. I'll have a hammock. Here's a button linked hummingbird. I've got an Orangino I use a lot. I gotta find. That one's good too. And then I've got a rain tarp. It's basically in this extra bag. It's the same bag. That way if my tarp's all wet and soggy, I can wind it up and put it in an extra bag, and then I have an extra bag still if I end up with a bike, which sometimes I find. I can strap it to the bottom of my handlebars or whatever I gotta do with it type thing. You got everything thrown around your campsite, it's raining out, you can at least keep your jacket dry or shove it down the bag, use it for a pillow. A couple water bottles, shades, night lamp. Oh yeah. Alright, here's a little trick. Been a while since I've been out, but I had it all packed up in my little holder. It's back in the day they used to give you these nicer plastic things that hold the microchips, and I've got the little key to take it in and out of your phone slot, whatever you're doing. I'm old school, so I like a phone that I can put the actual disc of the images that are my property in them. I don't do the clouds that float all over the universe, although I am thankful for some things on the cloud. I'm like, whoa, cool. It reminds me, you got these pictures from 15 years ago. They're kind of cool. But that takes up a lot less space than that. If I I could use these little black things maybe to pack them into. I don't know. Another little trick with these hammocks, you could take some extra straps if you're prone to being forgetful or big huge trees far apart. But I have this hammock rigged up so that these are really short portable hammocks, super lightweight. So sometimes you need to, if you take a bottom quilt, the thing that goes under the hammock that helps keep you warm when it's real cold, you need a little more cord to just hook the bottom quilt on. So I've got a Hummingbird button link to an Eno sublink toggle. If anybody cares about some hammocks. Alright, so there it is. Got my hammock and rain tarp, about the size of a football, JFL football. Then my breakaway bag with my socks and undies and whatever else, you know, water purifier, whatever other extra camera discs. Those will just go in like that. Sleeping bag, rain gear, sleeping pad. It'll come up to here, and then the rest I'll decide, well, do I need a hooded sweatshirt if it was more summer and bonfires and mosquitoes, or do I stuff a couple puffy jackets, or, you know, what else extra would I want to take? Food. Do I take my little cook kit and a couple bags of food, or whatever kind of goodies? It's smart to go through your stuff, especially if you haven't been out for a while. So got some hot chilies, basically warm long johns I can sleep in or trudge into the breakfast diner. Some toiletries. There's a luxury item, shaving cream, but whatever. You might want to go through and say, hey, do I need that shaving cream? Do I need any more than one extra pair of underwear? Do I need the thicker socks that I had in here from earlier in the winter? Then you got I brought my whole water kit because I've been had trouble with the last water purifier. You're supposed to squeeze stuff through it. I never used these, but it's a brand new water kit. I said, well, better take it, you know. But if you're somewhere where you're not going to be like purifying your water, I mean, there's these things called drinking fountains. Hopefully I can combine these clips going through stuff for a little backpacking. Always a little tip, like, I don't see it right away. Oh, there's my kit for going to the bathroom, but my food. If you want to know what you have. Sometimes it can be nasty tasting, expired, but it's also easy enough to get on an airplane with this in your bag, and you're really supposed to have this food out for them to look at, or they'll stop you and go through your bag and give you all kinds of trouble because you got your food. My friend Amanda, she does dehydrated food, and she gave me that. It was really cool. She's like, man, if you could do a video, and this is not what her food looks like. This is what her food looks like a year or two later. I just haven't been anywhere, and I cut sugar out of my diet, and I feel terrible because I never had any say, hey man, I know you do videos, and do a little review on my food. So I'm gonna go to the gas station and get some brand new ones. They're nice, big, puffy little. They're real puffy and good looking. Well, this is after a couple, but I suppose you could actually eat this type of thing if you had it in your backpack and you had to eat. You needed something that kept a long, long time. Hope that. Oh, there it goes. That's 217. I don't know what this camera's doing. Alright, there it goes. It's just a suggestion, especially if it's summer. You could make sure these are undershorts, but they kind of look like swimming shorts, so you can make sure your underclothes, if you want to, you don't have the room to take everything in the world. Especially, I guess, we men don't necessarily have a dedicated swimsuit. So, at least you have to get clean. You can be a little more decent looking than swimming in your actual underwear, and people don't know it. Alright, my backpacking system. I've got the bags separate of the pack. That's from ULA and Epic. But I like to say I've got a bag for winter and trains and a bag for summer and planes. So that one's a little smaller. I can pack stuff in, and here I've got this big boy. I can stuff an extra bottom quilt for the hammock, a couple jackets, whatever I need for the winter. Alright, little extra bottom quilt for the hammock. Basically just connects to the hammock and goes underneath it. I've got a few different kinds. It can also obviously cloak the hammock, since I have an orange hammock, just because it was cheap. I've got a couple different types of these, and then I've got hammocks that are entire winter hammocks. It's just that I get into their big hammocks and I need a bigger tarp and all that story, so I'd like to get them, my superiors and stuff like that, out more, but for now I take portability. Alright, try and clear away this mess of stuff, try and explain this away. These are both really high quality, lightweight hammock bottom quilts. I love this color and stuff. It's good for about 30 Fahrenheit, but freezing or so. But I made it a little small. Now, this is a 10 Fahrenheit. It's longer, so it covers the whole hammock and me, and the company made it just a little wider. And when I say 10, I really mean probably 15 or so. I'm kind of a cold sleeper, but you know, it's just how much space you want to take up, whatever like that. So this is what makes me late for the train. Alright, everybody has their favorite bags. Got my bottom quilt stuffed into what would normally seem like too big of a bag. I'm trying to be a little more visible in my day, like I might strap that to the outside of the bag if I'm doing some road walking. And when I'm on my knees and I roll that sucker out, just pack it in there, it just slips on back into the back of my backpack. It only weighs like a pound or so. And then I've got the extra bag if I find something alongside the road I want. Oh, this winter bag's looking good. Got my sleeping pad and rain gear, my sleeping bag, my hammock, my breakaway bag, hammock breakaway bag, then my extra bottom quilt since it's colder weather that I can lash underneath my hammock, or if I go to the ground I can kind of shove it into my sleeping bag for extra warmth. Cloak my sleeping bag in a populated area, a city, you know, so nobody sees me. Alright, I'm just getting my ULA Epic here lashed up. There's a few different types of these packs that you can, they used to be called pack crafting packs, but you know, like you could lash the backpack separate in, but nowadays, I mean, there's a lot of good backpacks that are waterproof with X-Pack and Dyneema that are all integrated. So, you know what, I'll say the type I have kind of flops around a little more and stuff like that. There's some versions with 3 straps around it. Sometimes I'll wrap an extra compression strap, be an extra belt or whatever, if I'm gonna run, or you know, or something. It's alright, now it's getting down to deciding what goes into the last of the backpack, and I can't forget the electric items or balaclava or hat or gloves or whatever either. But as far as what I'm gonna look like, one of my goals a few years ago is to be a better looking backpacker, dude, so I can pick between gray, shades of gray and brown. And you know, like, I love these wool shirts. You don't pick up any odor. They're like $70 a piece though, so I wear them ragged. And one thing you'll do is like put a nicer shirt over it if I want to look better. But since I'm going into a city and I don't know what's going on anyway, and I can always buy a shirt, I'll just take the ragged shirt and probably the shades of gray. And I really like the pockets on these Duluth trading pants. They've got a little bit of cotton and stuff that absorbs water, but they fit great. You're talking a $30 pant compared to a $200 pant. You know, these got the knee pads and the more synthetic material, and they're good pants. But these just fit good. I've been going Duluth lately. Another little backpack tip with these coats. It gets cold and I'll just take 2 of these down parkas. They're not that thick anyway, and they pack smaller than a regular sweatshirt. But when it gets to be summer, I'll maybe take one, maybe, And then the hooded sweatshirt, even though it's heavier, is a little better for the mosquitoes and more comfortable action. For the winter, these, and if it's going to be wet, really a lot of the year, these Patagonia, they're called, I don't know if they're called R2s or R whatever. They've got a little, thumb thing for your hand there. And they just dry incredibly fast. I've been just buried in blizzards and my raincoat's soaked through and the thing feels dry. Got my backpacking bag I'm packing up. We got rain in the forecast. I keep my rain jacket at the top. But the other thing that does is what I do with this raincoat sometimes is the great big pockets and everything. I'll take some of my battery chargers, wires, cameras, extra cell phones, whatever I need, pack it in there. And especially if it's in the airport, on an airplane, you're using a smaller bag than this, then you can just drape that jacket over your pack. Throw that jacket on when you get on the plane or whatever. Then you stuff your pack